Hello and welcome back to Lotus Reverie First Nexus. It looks to me like we're very close to the end right now. If I look at the main events, we've got one event already here that says Path to the End, which does sound like the end. Although there is another main event here that I would definitely do first. Just quickly check. Secondary events is still 2 rooms that we want to quickly check out. It might actually be the case that, because usually 2 side events and a main event leads to, a night's sleep. I don't know if that is the case still here, but I guess we'll check it out. Exploration far south is still possible. I don't remember what was far south. But you know what? I am curious. What is far south? Yes. You went as far south as you could. So far, in fact, that you can't see the castle anymore. Although the monolith is always present in the distance. Well, where's that story, Iris? You raise your voice, but there is no response. You traveled following your instincts, trying to remember without any luck. It seems you won't have any help this time. Another one of these. Somewhat smaller than the previous one, you arrive at what seems to be the remains of another magic atelier. But apart from the scattered books and the rubble, the only thing that remains intact is a pedestal, with a phone waiting to be picked up. For some unknown reason, you pick it up and put it to your ear. As expected, there's no signal. But of course, it's not a call that you were waiting for. I'll do my part. All of a sudden, you hang up the phone, your migraine intensifying, and the memories flow forth. You unlock the explosive circle spell. Oh. You found it. Thanks. Iris. You pant and sweat, swaying on your feet. You can only look at Iris out of the corner of your eye. What is this? What do you mean? What is this? You clutch your head as you fall to your knees. You've seen them before, haven't you? You're demons. Yes, it is a sensation you know well. Painful headaches, similar to those you felt before with the woman in white. But fortunately this time they quickly cease, allowing you to catch your breath. In the meantime, Iris opens her mouth once again, her eyes unfocused, yet fixed in the direction of the monolith. When evil is concerned, the dragon defeated or the demon king slain, their lair will always fall. Their power maintains the structure, the stone on which everything holds order. But what about the demons? It won't be long until they scatter around the world and die. Do you not feel pity? You take a deep breath, confused and angry. You shake your head just so she continues. The demons have to die together with their master. Without death, there can be no resurrection. Therein lies the greatest error of the myth, the next step. Your brows crease, silently asking her to explain herself. Have you ever searched for something lost and were unable to find it? You're sure it is somewhere, in your house, the closet, the drawers, inside your dominion. But it just won't come out. Even if it remains within what you consider yours, does it still exist if you do not use it or cannot find it? You gradually recover and decide to play along with Iris. The tree that falls with no one to hear, yeah. Where are you trying to go with this? The Empire is built on the corpses of their ancestors. Memories are the bridge connecting the 2 sides of the river. However, with each death, some of those memories are lost. We repeat the same errors, fall for the same tricks, placing ever smaller stones in the same places they already were. If we don't hurry, it won't take long for it to become weaker than a castle of sand. Is that your goal? Is that why you're here? The girl looks directly into your eyes. It takes her several seconds to reply. Maybe. You don't know? If it has been forgotten, I cannot know for sure. If I never learned it in the first place, then it's just a theory. And what's my role in all of this? Why are you telling me these things? Iris just shakes her head. I don't know. But you need me to remember all those things. Yes, but I don't know why. And isn't that fabulously human? The girl smiles widely, proudly raising her hands to point to the sky. Not to learn, but to remember. Everyone possesses the potential of the hero. If you make them remember, if you bring forth the story written in their souls before it can be forgotten, you combine the perpetual evolution of the individual, fed by the collective mind, and bring it ever closer to divinity and our true unknown purpose. Answering the questions without answers, mitigating unpronounceable necessities with unrelated disjointed words. As opposite and impossible as you and me think. You thought you weren't going to survive this time, and blinded by a reflection, the girl disappears, once and for all. Okay, so she was totally not crazy. Yes, okay, I can't explore anymore. Alright, let's have a look at Rue's room. Less than half the castle has been left standing. Only a few rooms are intact by pure miracle alone. Upon opening the door, you have the sensation a tornado just swept through this place. It's as if he's still living here, still making a mess. Amidst all the trash, what catches your eye is a stack of paper sheets in surprisingly good shape, resting right on top of his desk. It appears to be some kind of report, with shaky and sloppy handwriting. It describes a long investigation process as it happened. There's no record of him in the army, just the usual minimum military service. Several sources claim to know him, explaining in detail how he participated in various battlefields in a sniper squadron. He even received a few awards, though there's no longer any proof of those honors. After the war, he's listed as living here in the capital of Maya. Even though he spent long periods of time coming and going around there, it was in no way his real home. He lived in one of the towns somewhere deep in the continent. Why would he go so far? And why did he spend so much time in the capital? It would be a good story for a movie, eloping with the daughter of some nut jobs during the war. Having seen pictures of the girl, I'm not surprised. The hard part will be locating her, since she obviously changed her name. I understand the trouble with this girl was what led him to disappear from everywhere, but then why would he participate in the Civil War? It's been easier to find witnesses regarding his participation during the Civil War compared to any of the previous ones, despite his sniper position and him allegedly vanishing, which means he changed his job. The world is ending, so who cares about this report anymore? Long live vacations. I had a run-in with the target, not a bad guy, so he gets on my nerves, but I prefer to keep him close. Everything he says and does is so perfect that it grinds my gears. We have so much in common, but there he is, the perfect example to follow. Where's his tulpa though? She's definitely not here. No one here looks like the picture. Sink. It's her. Well, not exactly, but that explains it. Cunning rascal. Now all I need is to just fit the last piece into the puzzle. After that, I'll just leave it all to destiny. I find the girl amusing, and this report isn't going anywhere anyway, but I thought it would come in handy for you. Yes, I'm talking to you. Surprised? Reading my stuff without my permission after what you did to me. How shameless. That's what you get for being a busybody, because he who laughs last laughs best. But since you are on it, try to win. It's not like I care about results, since as you know, everyone's a winner. The most important thing is to participate, blah blah blah. But this way at least I can lie and feel like I was the silver medalist. Doesn't sound too shabby. One last truth. Or better said, one last will. Okay. And Violet's room? Less than half the castle has been left standing. Yes. Violet's room is in perfect condition. Nothing draws your attention. Maybe this is not the room you're looking for. In front of the burned building, only scattered debris remains. There's nothing whole in sight. You touch the charred walls, remembering the short time you spent here. Finally, you reach the crumbling door of Violet and Rue's room. The fire here must have been weaker. In the desk drawer, you find a familiar notebook in decent shape. The very same one Violet once used in the library, the one Violet was holding the very day you woke up in his house. Her diary, her memories, you can't help but open it and take a look. The first entry is from long before the incident started. Each day explains in detail, even the smallest trifles, writing with the maximum optimism possible in a human being. More than a diary, it feels like a prayer where the girl wishes for the best, where she seeks the strength to keep going. The entries abruptly stop. The pages are blank all the way until the chaotic events leading up to the incident. The words here seem like an imitation of what came before. Little by little, they improve. They become what they were before, cheerfully narrating the happy days in the castle. There's just one part that stands out as different from the rest. The last page, written in a different color. I don't know if I did well by leaving my power in her hands. The assurance ruined I built, I can already feel how it no longer belongs to me. I don't know if my labor has truly eased that burden on any of my family members back at the castle. But I know that despite all those difficulties, I did the best I could to continue your notebook, Violet. Even if I was never able to learn your real name, I hope that I have been able to make some of your dreams come true. Soon we will be able to meet in person. That's what I've wanted the most from the very beginning. You taught me how to find refuge even in the darkest times. I'm sure you would be happy knowing you helped me smile under any circumstances, and that he now smiles too, albeit in his own way. That puts an end to the long revenge we were waiting for, I guess. I always had the most trouble learning that part from you, but now I understand. That's why I'm grateful. And with this last entry, I'd like to say goodbye. Today it's time for me to prepare a cake for 3. 3. Isn't that a magic number? Your long frustrated wish has come true. Perhaps not exactly as you imagined it, but I'm sure you would have loved it. As much as I enjoyed it myself. Presumably talking about Violet or her real, actual past persona, whatever her name may be, wish to actually have a family with Rue and have children. Alright, last investigation. The ruined castle does not make for the best accommodation. The walls no longer stop anyone, and the regulations too have been buried under the rubble. However, here you are, in a position where it is difficult to discern whether you're monitoring or supporting each other, at least until the shortest of laughs escapes your lips. What's wrong? I didn't realize it before, but you're a terrible leader. Excuse me? You always had something to say before. You knew how to drive the others to keep them in line. But look at you now, so quiet. Where's the speech to boost morale, or at the very least an attempt to fix our relationship? Is there anything I could say that would help in some way? You would only make it worse. There you go. You're alright, maybe your leadership is not the issue. What's wrong is what comes after. Crystal scratches his head in confusion. You return to him a smirk. I'm talking normal human relationships. Once there is no longer a need for a chain of command, shouldn't that be what's left? But you look like you're unable to act normal around other people. I'm sure you're one of those people who immediately returns home after finishing work, or the type who shivers at the very idea of going on a date with a woman. Just thinking about it. And you find that funny? If I picture you that way, you aren't that scary. In fact, you're even a little pitiful, I dare say. Hearing you in particular tell me this sink is... Yeah, and that's the problem. Despite our relationship, despite the fact that you are the person I've spoken to the most during my time in the castle, you are the one I understand the least. Honestly, I'm not even sure if I hate you or not. Thistle sighs and bows his head, unable to say anything. Fennel thought my arrival to the castle and the power outage were not coincidences. Rose acted as if she realized something, but... Thistle watches you closely. There was something else going on that day, right? We were just unable to solve the case. Zink, I don't think any of that is of any use now. Listen, we had a deal, 1 question a day, right? I know that shouldn't have any value since I'm no longer under anyone's suspicion. But if I'm able to solve what happened, will you tell me why? What do you mean? The power outage. I think I know what happened, but I don't understand why. Thistle scratches his head. He tries to hide it, but you can feel how this whole situation somehow makes him happy. As you wish, I'll try to answer as honestly as possible. You try to focus, gathering all the information you learned during your investigations. The power outage happened because of a short circuit in one of the lines that crosses near the castle. The ground was open and was subsequently flooded with water from a nearby broken pipe. It seems improbable the pipe broke without anyone's interference. If we assume it wasn't an accident and there was a culprit, when did the pipe break? Way before the power outage. Did it really take that long for the water to make it to the cable? No, well, the hole was in the middle of a patio. Just a little bit of water should have been enough. Which means that not much time could have passed. Oh yeah, right. Then, it happened shortly before the power outage. Due to the incline and the position, it was obvious the water didn't take long to spill into the hole and cause a short circuit. Yeah, pretty obvious. It's just a couple of months ago for me now. That sounds logical, but there's a problem. Yes, we were all at the castle at the time. That was the conclusion we reached during the investigation. It had to be an accident, or there was someone outside the castle who could do it. If it was someone from the outside, then there's little we can do. The only one missing was Fennel, and if she made it to the building to cause the flood, she should have been captured on surveillance crossing the river. But no matter who it was, no one would cause a power outage like that just for fun. The city is empty, the only relevant place is the castle, and the only one who appeared was me. Do not get ahead of yourself. Whistle's words are blunt as his interjection catches you off guard. You blink in surprise. Very well, before focusing on the motives of the act, I must ask myself what were the culprit's exact steps to executing their plan. Whistle simply shrugs, maintaining his ignorance. Seen that way, we have three options. Where was the culprit during the power outage? Another place. They may have fled somewhere else, hiding in the city. We would have found them. You know we have security both at the river and in the mountains, and we've controlled all the food in the area. It's practically impossible for someone to survive hidden for so long. You yourself, you were no exception to that, just as we originally discussed. Maybe they weren't hiding. The underground passage Columbine told you that crosses under the river comes to mind. Because of its particular position, anyone who wanted to use it would have to pass close by the castle first. Considering how the surveillance intensifies in the castle's immediate surroundings, that is extremely unlikely, especially considering that using that passage requires a password very few should know. Even if there's a tiny chance, that won't get me anywhere. I shouldn't get ahead of myself, therefore, it was someone from the castle. All the survivors on this side of the river were in the castle. Besides that, only someone from the castle could know the location of such a convenient cable. You mentioned how you patrolled and checked around the entire city, entering every house. Nobody would have found the area of ongoing construction in that house if they hadn't happened to explore it before. And nobody could have made that hole themselves, thanks to the rule of 3 and the noise such an explosion would have caused. All this means the hole was already there when they found it. Not to mention that the castle's emergency generators also failed, which was most likely the result of having been tampered with from the inside. The only people with the time and knowledge required for such an act would be you guys. It probably happened during an inspection. Someone came across this perfect location to cause a short circuit. Then later they found a way to manipulate the emergency generators. Oh, good catch. Whistle nods, satisfied. But now you've come to another dead end. If the pipe was destroyed only a short time before the power outage, but the culprit was inside the castle during the outage itself, who could have done it? During the interrogations I was able to determine the position of most of the castle members. That day there were 2 people guarding the exterior, so according to the 3 people rule, there's no way the culprit could have used a vehicle to return to the castle without being seen. The chance that 2 individuals cooperated without sharing a tulpa and host relationship is extremely low. And once again, doing such a thing does not offer any kind of advantage worth it for someone to take such a huge risk. You're getting ahead of yourself again. Yes, well. You try to calm down. Fizzle's interventions are helping, but you're not quite sure how to take them. His assured confidence, the way he leads you, the smoothness with which he answers your questions. The person who did it was... Oh god. Fizzle, right? I mean, none of... Well, where is Rose anyway, in all of this? I mean, the right answer is Fizzle or Rose. Anything else doesn't make sense in my opinion. But just logically, I don't know. It's so long ago, but logically, Fizzle makes sense, I assume. It was you. Like Fennel said, the key is the motivations behind the power outage, and my own relationship to all of this. Oh, was it a ploy just to get me in? The 3-person regulation rules out the other possibilities. I'm a tulpa and I appeared that day. It was you. I told you not to get ahead of yourself. You've jumped the gun and have no evidence. No, it was you, because you were the only one who could. Enlighten me. The method you used was... gunshot. It was a gunshot. Oh yeah, you know firsthand my skill with the rifle. That day Rue mentioned it, the castle was visible from that patio. That day you were in the tower keep. You had the best possible position in the castle to shoot and destroy the pipe. And given the lack of firearms in Maya, especially sniper rifles, that would rule out everyone else but me. Not a bad theory if it wasn't for the fact that there were no traces or evidence of a bullet at the scene of the crime. How do you explain that? That's actually interesting. You did not erase the proof. I mean, you shot with a magic sniper rifle. Maybe. I don't know. You did not erase the proof. You didn't need to erase any proof. You yourself explained it to me. Your special attack, a gunshot where you use your own aura as ammunition to create a bullet that cannot be stopped by anything, that also makes very little noise. How convenient. Having thought together that Azure trail is burned into my mind, I can't remove the image from my head even if I tried. I don't know if I should take that as a compliment. Pistol jokes, grinning ear to ear despite your accusations. That's the whole truth of what happened. The rest of the castle members couldn't have known what happened because none of them knew about your special aura bullet, but I did. I always had it in front of me. No, one more thing is still missing. Pistol taps his finger on his wrist as if drumming an invisible wristwatch. I told you this during the interrogations, and I'm not the only one who spoke of it either. When I took my position in the tower, it was already night. You lift your eyes to the sky. At this moment you realize how all that deduction has hit a wall. You can't aim if you can't see, and that patio was a private house. There was no light that reached it, whether from the lampposts or anywhere else in the city. You've also seen me using my Azure shot in battle before, so you know it's not something I can throw around carelessly. Considering how strenuous each shot is on my body, as well as the cooldown, I must wait before using it again. There's no way I'd take the risk of shooting in the dark at random. Unless you had the shot marked or prepared first beforehand. Impossible. I would have had to set up some kind of equipment or signal beforehand, and the person on watch before me was rude. Do you think the detective would have missed something like that? And some kind of sight with night vision capabilities? We've fought it for night before, Sync. If I did possess such equipment, I would have used it then. How did you manage to see where to shoot then? You take a deep breath. This is the last piece of the puzzle. You are able to see, for some reason or another. It's on the tip of my tongue. I only need one word. Oh god. I actually have to... There's so many words in the English language. I have no clue. How was he able to see? How would he have been able to see? What would be a good word to type in there? For some reason, the first word that came to mind was sync. I don't know if it makes sense in any possible way. Maybe it was a full moon? There was enough light? I have no clue. This was so long ago. How am I supposed to remember? I think I'm just gonna type in sync. I don't really know why. Might as well save. And maybe I'll look it up later if that's the wrong answer and it somehow blocks the route or something. And I'll actually save to here. And I block myself out of something with that. But I genuinely don't know right now. Wait, what? Well, I guess that doesn't make sense. Of course it doesn't. I have to think about it carefully. The answer is... Oh god. I actually can't progress until I figure it out? What is the answer then? Moon. The answer, I remember, that day. A vast starry sky. The moonlight shining brighter than ever. So it was a full moon? Okay. I don't remember that. It was just a good guess, I guess. Just because it was night didn't mean it was dark. Crystal covers his mouth, thoughtful. Not bad, Sync. Not perfect, but more than enough. Still not an ace, but let's leave it as a grade of B. B? I found out everything that happened. There's nothing left. Let's say I'm a tough teacher. You frown, not too happy with the result, but Thistle accepts your answer. Following his part of the deal, he begins the explanation. Alright, I'll first start by giving more details. Remember the traitor we talked about? He was the one who found that house with the patio and the pipes. Although the pipes can be seen from the tower keep, the floor was not visible from that viewpoint, so no one could have imagined the power line was exposed there. Mm-hmm. He was keeping the secret to himself to use against us at the perfect moment, but we caught him for another reason before that could happen. I got the information out of him then. Who is he talking about? You got it? During my interrogations. By interrogations, you mean those friendly talks before going to sleep? The very same. I can be very convincing, even if I don't look the part. But I didn't share the information with everyone else. I kept it to myself, even though I had no intention to use it at the time. But something happened that led you to use it. All the other members of the castle thought the traitor died, but he actually escaped. Oh. Everyone was accustomed to people disappearing overnight, so no one asked any questions about it. Nobody wanted to get in trouble for just suggesting he could have avoided all the security systems of the castle to run away. I had to follow him, escaping from the castle myself, of course, to then take him out before the cat could get out of the bag. That's when it happened. Whistle pauses for a second and then points at you. You appeared during the fight. We managed to win, although you probably don't remember it since it takes some time for Tulpas to gain true consciousness. That was a problem. I couldn't just reappear in the castle with the girl out of nowhere. So one of the reasons for the power outage was precisely to reduce the suspicion on me, just like when I voted against your joining. Yeah, I figured that. Thanks to all that uproar, I could take advantage of that opportunity to show a strong negative stance against you. If you had just appeared peacefully instead, I would have attracted doubt and detractors. Overall, this approach effectively reduced the chances of anyone thinking you and I were related somehow. Without even batting an eye, you fix your gaze on Thistle, completely unconvinced. You didn't do it just for that. Is it that obvious? No one would do something so extreme just for that reason alone. You're right. The main reason was something else. I wanted to send a message. You keep your eyes fixed on him while he grabs the tip of your hood like he always does. A message to whom? It was nothing related to you or the mystery. Our deal was only one question, right? Besides, it's not like I can tell you. I see. And that's all, right? Yes, that's all. That answer isn't enough. You can't just leave it like that. It is a B grade answer for a B grade deduction. What do you mean? I'm a tough teacher, I already told you. Whistle pulls your hood down, leaving you in the dark once again. Some things can only be seen without light. Where our blood covered with little life remains. And that now leaves us with only half to the end. Which I assume... yeah, I'll probably put a cut in there. But I'll continue it for now and I'll see how it ends up, how long it ends up being. But let me just have a quick drink. Alright. Half to the end. Yes, very important. Early morning. Nothing but silence in the ghost city. The sight of the monolith in the sky announces what you are about to face. Walking a few meters in front of you is Thistle, your supposed host and partner. That relaxed posture, his slumped shoulders. Is this how someone is supposed to act before the end of the world? It makes you wonder if your previous separation had any meaning at all. In the end, he always goes on ahead. You have no other choice but to follow in his footsteps. You haven't said a thing since we departed. Are you okay? Thistle looks back from time to time. Gaze behind his glasses appears calm, but who knows? He doesn't even have a reason to wear them in the first place. Since this is going to be our last chance to talk and prepare, I think I should tell you a little more about Fennel. The man sighs, taking a few seconds before he continues. I don't think you'll fully grasp Fennel's ability until it's right in front of you. I must emphasize that her specialty of magic is the highest and most complex of all modalities and spells. Fennel has the capacity to control space itself. She can eliminate any threats by moving away or shortening distances at her will. And add that to her wealth of stamina and experience, and Fennel is virtually untouchable. You can forget about achieving anything from afar. Only the things you can control under your own aura will be free from her power. It's not going to be easy, you can be sure of that. That doesn't mean I won't give my all, of course. I know you have many doubts about me, and I would understand if you hate me. But I could never hate you, not after what we went through, after the trust you have placed in me. Thistle unlocked his definitive style and spell. Whistle stops halfway. He wants you to check everything is ready for the final battle. He removes his glasses and his coat and works on checking the status of his rifle. You do the same with your own equipment. The two of you sit in complete silence as the first rays of morning light appear over the horizon. In reality, you both know you're only attempting to delay the inevitable, or to find the appropriate words for this moment. His tone of voice is not that of a defeated man, nor someone willing to surrender. He speaks naturally, having accepted what you're going to confront. Because it is not the future that perturbs him, but the past, making him bow his head and sigh, and then look up at the monolith under the contrasting light and shadow of the dawn. You already know our history. This is something that had to happen. But I'm not going to be defeated no matter how much I wanted to make her happy. That's what having responsibility means. That's what it means to be a leader. That's how it is for everyone. The position we must take in life. Is the same not true for you? You are much happier ignoring the difficulties, just having a good time with everyone else at the castle. And why do you want to win anyway? Why do you want to be human if you don't even know what that implies? The rays of sunlight rise, gradually revealing his silhouette and his face. Sink, the circumstances are irrelevant. Your actions are your own. Accepting them is what grants you authority. You become the maker of your own path, while the rest lower their heads to avoid accepting that burden. And so, even if they are wrong, they can always blame someone else, even if in reality, everything is part of the rules of the game. The truth is, you cannot escape that fate. You cannot be a child forever. You only delay the benefits that you can obtain when you do accept that suffering. The capacity to love another person. The man looks at you askance, sharpening his gaze with pride. To love someone, you must first defeat the world. Climb up to a point where you can not only survive, but also keep those you love in the face of chaos. Without that previous path, there is nothing that will keep you together. No story in common that gives you meaning. You need others to gain something from being by your side. Hence, the more people you love, the more power you will need. The more responsibility you will have to carry until you reach a point where it becomes impossible to recognize where this whole journey began. The point where man becomes beast. That's why authority only comes in exchange for exposing yourself. You face immediate annihilation in the eyes of society for the slightest mistake of breaking your promise. That's why no one can love everything, for that would require conquering the whole world. But I'm just a man. At what point are we supposed to stop feeling? Whistle's face hardens. He shakes his head. Some think power dehumanizes a person, but I don't think so. That happens when we lose control through the process. You become free, an adult, but nobody warns you of the constant sacrifices that entails. I will not apologize or make excuses for dealing with what the rest didn't have the courage to face, no matter how incorrect my actions were. But if the end justifies the means, let it at least be under the conviction of someone who's willing to give their life to fulfill their dreams. I'm not trying to become a martyr. That job, that of maintaining innocence, is also important. Without that, one would never have a place to return to, nor a memory of the past, a place to become human again, even if it is at the very end of the world. You take a deep breath and look around you, bathed in small sparkles of light that fill the air. Your mind enshrouded in memories and sensations that have no name. Is that why you're so calm? The man looks straight ahead. Is that how I look to you? The conflict between your feelings keeps you too distant, unable to look each other in the eye. Something that brings a smile to Thistle's face for a moment. Look at us, Sink. The last people on this earth. Despite our circumstances, we're still afraid of finishing at second place. In this world, we're doomed to compete and fight, always worrying about what position we take, if we've made an impact. So it is much easier to show off your semi-achievements, to brag about your own mediocrity, repeating to yourself that you could have made it further if you actually tried, without ever truly trying for fear of failure. But tell me, is it really so terrible to have something you've lived for, even if you lose? Value is subjective, regardless of our efforts and suffering, but if we avoid both of those, we lose the only test that takes away our misery. Because there's always the risk that, despite everything, our work will not bear fruit, that we were always wrong, that our play finishes with the worst possible ending. That no matter what you do, you will always be the second, the third, or the last. Crystal turns his face to you and closes his eyes. Now look back to your memories, the battles you've been through, and the people who have fallen. The seconds, the thirds, the fourths, the last ones. Tell me, can you laugh at them? Can you consider them losers? You have taken your responsibility and your power. You are even forced to take their lives. But along the way, your hearts connected in a way that would have been impossible under any other circumstances. If you wish to win, if you want to conquer the world and the love of others, someone else has to lose. Someone will have to take that position falsely accused as undesirable. A life just for the sake of living is nothing. You settle for mediocrity just so you can take delight in your own indulgence. Because we are afraid of our own ambitions, afraid of recognizing our own sins are part of our nature too. When you forget them, their faces, their stories, their suffering, carry them with you, always in your heart, for all of them were real people who lost the opportunity to continue competing, but who you can never forget. They lived more in a few seconds than others did in their entire lifetimes. What heartless creature cannot feel even a glimmer of sorrow for those who gave their lives hoping to not be forgotten? For those who fought to prove their own existence? Our soul knows what is truly worth it, that which we must not forget, so we can extinguish our fear, no matter what position we may end up in, or how long it will take for us to reunite with them. The monolith stands on the other end of the slope, always infinitely stretching up to the sky, the rules of this world still shining in front of you. You made it to the end. I met her in a wasteland. You really took your sweet time. Fennel awaits at the end of the large venue, a frame looking smaller than ever against the towering monolith. That doesn't mean your timing isn't perfect, however. I don't want this to last 1 minute longer. Let's finish this game. The girl smiles confidently, stretching her body. But you don't feel the same. Fennel, why? Hey, stop right there. I'm not going to listen to another word. I can guess the gist of what you want to say. Why do we have to fight if we still have time to find a solution? Why can't we talk about our lives or some other baloney? Ah. Listen, from my point of view, all those lovey-dovey bonds you had in the castle were nothing but pure masochism. Living with the same people you had to erase, escapism through those silly regulations, undiluted madness. Although I can understand why you would accept that world if it's the only thing you know, if you have nothing else. I know how that feels, how easy everything is when you simplify it down to just what you were told. But I can't consider that being alive. Fennel glances at Thistle. The man turns his face away. So don't forget that sense of ambition, pride, or satisfaction you can feel when taking control of your own life. Even if you're still tied to that man, even if you had to do the most terrible acts. Or in this life, even if you make all the correct decisions, you may have lost before you were even born. Fennel makes the halberd appear in her hands, twirling it expertly. At the same time, the air begins to stir. You feel a quaking vibration as if the earth itself was throbbing. A sensation you recognize, just like the expanding of aura, but this time of a new scale unknown to you. Who could fulfill all the expectations in the world, from loved ones and strangers alike? Who could take the perfect route where everyone lives happily ever after? But tales are nothing but sad stories of heroes and their lies. Before any of that, I'd rather realize my own revenge. Crystal, Sink, here and now, I challenge you to a duel. Let's put an end to this, once and for all. Battle is about to begin. Are you ready? Let's relocate slots. Have a look. We have available slots. Let's get rid of the sword. Yes, let's get rid of the sword and take the halberd. And in the library, we do not have any more slots, but I want the explosive circle. What was this one? Violet special spell, Inferno. But the explosive spell though. Yeah. Can't be drawn if it disappears after some time. Yes, I need that. And I do feel like I also need health. I don't know if healing is the most necessary, but I, I don't really see anything else. And that doesn't leave me with anything anyway. Alright, battle is about to begin. Are you ready? Yes, let's go.